about you're in combat and you're carrying that heavy thing, you just just laying lead. All right, D-bags.
Are you talking about me?
D-bags. All right, D-bags. Welcome back to Two Shots In Podcast. I'm Devin Burgess. I'm here with Frank King, Ginger Janae, and Mr. André Laborde. Mr. André is the president of BENA. Is it BENA Capital or BENA?
No, it's BENA. You had it right.
BENA Capital, and also the host of Wall Street Wrap-Up.
Yeah.
And it's good to have you, man. I got introduced to you.
I'm honored.
And also a gun aficionado. And some of the best goddamn gun aficionados you like to meet.
I feel like I'm in my new friends that I've had for years.
So why so you do two things that intrigue me. You buy machine guns and you also deal in the market.
Yes.
Both of which I've been wanting to get somebody on here
now
to talk
the markets
about.
I know a lot better than the former.
Well, the only difference is guns are going up, market's going down.
Market's going down.
So that leads me into, we're going to talk about the
stocks
machine
and into
guns.
machine guns.
Is that why you bought machine guns?
No, actually, because I'm a World War II buff, and I've always wanted full automatic of the World War II models. Now the other models are beautiful, and I love them. And I did 30 years in the Navy, and I carried an M4.
All right. I did 9 years in the Navy.
We didn't.
Fix his ear thing.
Who, him? Oh.
Andre's drunk already.
See, I was going to say something, so maybe he did it on purpose.
Wow, it really came out now. I can really have.
When you put it on correctly.
I used to wear
Thank
it.
you, Frank.
André.
Very much.
I used to wear it around my ass, and I couldn't hear anything for the longest time.
I don't know why this one's not working.
It felt good, though.
And that was only this little. That's all I had.
See, we're kind of slipping off the rails already. It's 5 minutes.
Ginger, I told you I was going to like it.
So what made you buy machine guns, man?
I have, well, it was a mutual friend of all of ours, Eric.
Good dude.
He is a good dude.
And he and I have known each other since we were 13. And he told me, he said, Andre, there's an auction at Rock Island, and they've got some World War II. They've got the M1 Thompson, because I've been talking to him about the M1 Thompson for years. And I said, oh man, that would be so nice. He goes, Andre, you've been talking about it for 25 to 30 years. You're going to be dead before you ever get it.
Get it.
And I said, you know what? You're right. And
That thing is so goddamn cool.
She's a beauty. I'm telling you. And I like coming over here for visitation rights, and I appreciate you letting me, for my visitation, and I have joint custody.
Can you trace back the lineage of this machine gun?
So far from what I understand, from what they...
Eat lead coppers.
It was 40... I know around 1942 at the start, because you see they've got the 1921 Thompsons and the 23 Thompsons. And I don't know if you know the difference. You can always take a look to know exactly the kind they are. So when World War II started, they wanted to furnish the Marines in the Pacific and the Army in the European theater with a Thompson, but the Thompson 1921 and 23, I want to say, I'm going to mention, it's something like maybe $200. It was like $200 per weapon. But Thompson was able to make the cheaper model for equivalent to around $70 per weapon.
I didn't know that.
Yep. And so what they did was...
Don't worry, anything you get wrong, some jackass will comment.
That's
tell the truth.
That's right. Okay.
Then
I want to make sure my numbers...
That's bullshit.
Eggplant.
Bullshit. That guy has he can't even put earplugs. You're gonna believe what he's saying about this, a weapon? So it was like, now that was like $60 or $70 in 1942 money. So maybe that would be worth maybe around $300 today. $400 today. So what happened was, the difference, you can always tell the M1 number from visual. First off, the barrel is smooth. And then in the 21 and the 23 Thompson, the barrels are groove. Another thing is that the stick, the mag, Okay, in the 1921 and 23 Thompson, it takes a stick mag or it'll take a drum. This only takes a stick.
Right. There's no side.
No side slot.
Exactly.
Cord, right.
To be able to put the drum. Another thing, in the 21 and the 23 Thompson, there's a little button right here that you can push and you can take the stock off. All right, so you can have it like a pistol, like an automatic pistol. There's no, it's stationary. You can't take it off. And the other things is the rear sight is that on the 22 and on the 21 and the 23 Thompson, you have a rear sight that you can push up that has wind and elevation. In this, they made it cheap because they wanted to mass produce it because they had to hurry up and get them out.
Bent piece of metal.
So it's just a bent piece of metal.
It's a fucking bottle
with
cap
just a
on the end
hole.
of
Where they drill a hole in it.
And that's it. But
It'll work. Get them out there.
It'll work. And that's what they did. I mean, they mass produced these things for the European theater and for the Pacific. So, like, let's say...
even the selector switches don't look the same as, like, the one we have downstairs.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's...
Supposedly, and it's been a while since I've shot the 21 and the 23 Thompsons, but I seem to remember, and for that guy that's going to go, hey, don't know... I think the same... equipment is right here the same for the 21 and 23 Thompson. You know, going from full automatic to semi-automatic to safety, and also for the release of the mag, it's still right here. So that's the same way as it was on the 21 and the 23 Thompson.
Think about carrying that thing around with you all the time, too.
You know, because when you put...
Think about that BAR.
Right.
Jesus
That
Christ.
And then when you start
BAR.
shooting, you just think about it. You're in combat and you're carrying that heavy thing. You just just laying lead.
And what I didn't think about either is because they have this on the World War II movies that you see. You know, you'll see the guy and he's unloading the mag, okay? And he takes a stick out and he puts the next one in. But with all those rounds going through that barrel,
It's hot as shit.
Yeah, burn you.
You could burn an egg on this thing.
Well, Tom Sizemore used this in Saving Private Ryan. Everybody else had M1s or some or
Tom
the
Hanks.
BAR.
Tom Hanks had the M1.
Tom Hanks and Tom Sizemore both use this.
They both use that.
Because Tom Sizemore was the leading enlisted
sergeant.
guy. He was the sergeant.
God, that was a good
he was the
movie,
sergeant.
too, huh?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I've seen that maybe around 30 times,
That's a good
40
movie.
times, and
Shows
5
how
of those
brutal
times.
war is.
Oh yeah, I saw that for the first opening scene for Omaha Beach. I remember I was with a friend of mine. I said, definitely Steven Spielberg directed this. I mean that first 5 minutes or 10 minutes when Omaha Beach was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I went actually. You know what? I was in the Navy at the time for the 50th and the 60th anniversary of World War II. So I wanted to go to Normandy, and I wanted to see at 6:55 a.m. on June 6th, where was the tide? Because I'd never, because, I saw the World War II movies, well, this was before the, let me see, Saving Private Ryan, I think, was in 98 or 97. So I was there in 94, in 94 and in 04. So I don't remember if it was which one, but I remember I wanted to be there on June the 6th at 7 o'clock because I wanted to see how far of a run was it from when that landing craft, when the front hits and you had to run with all the one. Let me tell you, that's a long way because they still have the gun.
They were in the
bank
worst
that's
In
position,
full
too.
machine gun fire.
and full machine gun fire, right?
In full elevated
while
machine
carrying
gun
while carrying everything, and when you got your
Well, you know how many guys drowned just jumping off the landing craft?
Yeah.
Just going over the side. They were so loaded down they couldn't get their equipment off fast enough and they drowned.
That's right. You're absolutely right. And at that time, a lot of guys were farm guys. Okay, I mean, think of like let's say if we know how you know how to swim. I mean, somebody may have had a swimming pool growing up when you were a kid or whatever. Well, if you grew up on the farm or if you grew up, in the city,
They may never even drank water before.
they never drank water. That's right.
Drinking Old Smoky from Tennessee.
The last time they had water was in the bathtub.
Open
And
it
that
up
was
for a
just
plug.
All this shit.
for Saturday night. So they never drank.
But yeah,
I mean, they never
elevated
swim.
machine gun fireman coming off that beachhead.
Oh yeah.
Those
Well-
guys had balls of
Crazy,
steel.
man.
Have you ever heard the term "he bought the farm"? Did you ever hear that term?
yeah.
Right.
He bought the farm. You know where that's from? Okay, in World War One, okay, most farms, most guys that went to war in World War One in 1917, all right, lived on the farm, and I mean today we have more people that lived in the city. All right. But in 1915, 1916, 1917, the majority of people lived on farms. Well, they found that the mortgages on most farms were $5,000 or less. Well, the death benefit from a soldier who died during World War One was $5,000. During World War II, they doubled it to $10,000.
So he bought the farm.
So that that's exactly
That's dark.
right. His family
It's very dark.
bought it is, and that's how he bought the farm, and that was the term of how they got it. So in World War II, they doubled it to 10,000, but then by then more people were, living in cities, but they would still had more farm boys, that came that, like I said, didn't know how to swim, and for doing it.
You're a smart dude, man.
I know, right? That's what I was
didn't know-
thinking.
Oh no, I'm making
World
it
War
up as
II
I go
buff.
along.
That's right.
I really don't know what the shit I'm talking about.
No,
I'm just rattling some shit off.
I just had a sip of this, and I can tell you everything what's going on.
Old Smokey will bring it out.
Old Smoky.
You know what happened.
My tongue is very
Let
loose.
me tell you.
I always say I'm a great receptacle of useless information. Okay.
I'm right there with
So
you.
let me ask you a question.
Okay.
So this gun, in World War II,
Yep.
was that gun used against this gun?
That's exactly right. That was exactly. I want to say
Grab that other
the
one.
German army
Give the
was in
people what they want.
1937 or 38.
Fuck,
was
man,
when
that's
it started.
so cool.
I know
That
this one's
is
so
awesome.
This is true German engineering
The
right here, baby.
MP40. That's and it's a 9mm. It's a 9mm, and that was throughout African, the African campaign. That was through Italy. That was through everywhere the German army was spread around. And what's also interesting is that after the war was over with, they had so many of those MP40s that they were used in other. Oh, and also in Spain, because when Hitler furnished Franco some of these German MP40s as well too. So a lot of them went to Spain as well too.
Man, that thing could have
And that
been in
was in
Spain.
38.
It could have been in Africa.
It could have
So
been
this
Spain,
this-
Africa.
this is the equivalent of that, but German.
Exactly.
So that's why you bought both of them. So you have both sides of the field.
Yes. That's
That's
exactly
awesome.
right.
Did the current political climate have any sway on you buying one or more machine guns?
It didn't, but the stock person in me always looked like, you know what? That's a good investment.
It's a
anyway.
very good investment.
It's a good
I tell people
investment.
that
That's
all
like
the
a
time.
Picasso. I don't know anything about. I mean, they have some guys that love art. Okay, some guys, or now you've got.
I mean, that's definitely art.
NFPs are big. NFTs. I'm sorry, non-fungible tokens. Okay, that are supposedly big and are sell for a lot of money. That to me is not. But this, because you know what? Also, I can go to Jefferson Guns and shoot it whenever I want. I can't do that with an NFT or for Picasso.
What I love about the day, even the U.S. guns, but the German guns a lot are like the craftsmanship and the tolerances. Like they did a great job with the materials they had.
They did.
Like to throw them together that fast.
Yes.
Because even like the grease guns from back in the day, where they just threw that shit together and made a gun out of it, that just amazes me.
Is sexy. That thing right there.
Yeah, it really
Look
is.
at cars. Look at like a 1980s BMW compared to a Ford Pinto or some shit.
And you know what? You got a point, because look at it this way.
those
You were just talking about
Germans.
German engineering, automobiles, machinery, things that go boom.
People don't know.
You know?
People still don't know that our NASA, our space program, came from German scientists.
That's exactly
Hitler
right.
von Braun, who
Werner von Braun,
pretty much
that's right.
was the head of NASA, was a Nazi scientist.
He developed the V1 and the
Yep.
V2 rockets.
Yeah, they called them. What'd they call them? New York rockets.
The New York really?
Uh-huh.
Now that
It
I
was
didn't
either
know.
New York or it was either New York rocket or look up what the Germans referred
Why
to
do we have to
their.
tell you to look up shit?
I know. Huh? Wake up! He's all drunk back there.
Joe Rogan doesn't have to do that shit.
Years
it.
ago,
I think it was called. They had one that was called the Mars rocket.
okay.
I know that, and then they had one that was called. It was either called. I think it was called the New York rocket.
Open a new window.
Well,
And
the
it
first
was-
one, I know the first man was the Mercury.
So that gives you the point of what they were trying to do.
Yeah. Well, but you're right, because with the Soviets going from the to the east, and also the U.S., you wanted to be caught by the Americans. You didn't want to be caught by the Soviets, okay? Because he'd have been dead for sure.
But yeah, those scientists, man, anybody that was making anything in Germany was like 50 years ahead of.
I was in Oberammergau,
everybody.
Germany, where they made the V1 and the V2 rockets, and they still had the warehouses there. I mean, they didn't have that much because there's a NATO school over there, and I went to a NATO school in Oberammergau, which is right outside of Austria. It's in southern Germany, and that's where they made the V1 and the V2 rockets.
You know what else is great about these older guns? A crescent wrench and a flathead. You could strip the whole thing to pieces.
Something simple. You want something when you're in the field, because you want something in the field because it's going to get muddy, it's going to get dirty. You're going to have something that, whether it be through the heat or like if you're like for the M1 Thompson, if you were in the Pacific, it was going to get between the the salt water and the mud. So, and if you're in Europe, in sand, so you had to have it with get sand out of it if it was in the Pacific, and if you're in Europe, you had the heat or the dirt and mud, so it had
and especially like that back then. I mean, they're scrounging for material. They're running out of steel, running out of stuff, and they did what they had to make the stuff happen. Make the fighter planes, make the ships, make the guns. Mm-hmm. It was awesome.
Yeah,
but look at even the craftsmanship on it.
Like, that's awesome.
I mean, the craftsman. Yeah, you're right.
On the magwell, the ribs on the magwell,
even like this that fits with the little indentations. You know what I'm saying?
Well, a lot of people that were making things for the German war effort were Jewish, captured Jews, and if they didn't do an exceptional job, they were killed.
Right.
You're right.
That's on my list now.
But and you're right.
Okay, I got 3 more needs.
Ginger, if anytime you want to shoot it,
cool, man. And you can't see it if you're watching, unfortunately. But there's Nazi, all the Nazi stamps are on it. That I mean, just it's a piece of engineering, man.
I was talking to France
before. All the stamps and stuff on it. You
They
can hold it,
stamped.
and that it was.
Yeah.
It had the capability of being a vital part of history.
My father
which you
told
may
me
be holding.
because my father
and that many men before you have held it with reverence.
I would love to know that type of history. Where, where did it come from and trace it? You're right. My father told me because he was in the European campaign, and he said he brought back a German P-38 with the holster, and he said when they were on the ship going back to Ellis Island from New York, from Europe, and you had your your duffel bags, and they told all the guys, and of course it was all guys. I mean, standing room only from stem to stern. He said, "Okay, you've just spent 3 years. Okay, any illegal contraband, you're going to be prosecuted under UCMJ and all. You don't want to waste it. Okay." Well, guys were looking at each other, and they were dumping stuff out into the water,
like a float.
Exactly.
So how did people get stuff back?
Well, what the joke was that when the ship docked,
nobody searched them.
They didn't search them. They said, "Okay, y'all go." And they had so many guys that were like crying their eyes out, going, "No!"
Because they dumped it all.
They dumped it all.
That's the same thing that happened when I was in. We had cruise boxes. We just put it all in cruise boxes and put it in the hangar bay. Like we're going to offload it to get on the ship. Bring back whatever you want.
That's it.
Nobody inspected. They handed you a piece of paper and said, "Hey,
you're supposed to fill
out whatever you are bringing
Declare.
back."
Yeah.
And we're like, okay.
We went to a buddy's wedding in Mexico 2 years ago, and they gave us those things. And a lot of the people coming back don't really speak English, so we wrote syphilis on all of our cards. And they didn't do it, they just stamped it.
Syphilis. That is hilarious.
They didn't know what the hell syphilis was.
That is hilarious.
Is that someone's first name, middle name, or last name?
Funny.
They're looking at say plant material because I guess they're real, real sketchy about bringing plants. And
anything
shit
like
back.
alcohol.
It's not plant material.
Anything like alcohol or anything you wanted to actually get back, we have these big metal cruise boxes that you'd put on you'd offload, and they'd go on semi trucks and go back to your squadron or go back to wherever you were, and we would just load them up with whatever we wanted and when we got back to the squadron, they were in our work center area already, and we just took what we wanted. We just got what we shipped back.
See, they
free shipping.
They learned that about what year, Frank, was that about?
I was like 96, 97 maybe.
You see, they learned their lesson because when I came in, when I went overseas, I did Afghanistan in 13 and 14, and I just did briefly in Iraq, just like 2 years before that. But I mean, it was like in and out. But for Afghanistan, I was in I did 18 months. Well, they made sure, because they said we had Frank King there. Okay, we had Frank King about 20 years ago, and we learned our lesson good.
I bet they did.
You couldn't bring. I mean, they would X-ray every. They X-rayed.
Really?
Oh yeah. They X-rayed.
You can't go back in.
You couldn't pull a mag.
Screw that.
You couldn't do a mag. You couldn't do. Now
I know they were taking like AKs from people, and they didn't want anybody collecting any battlefield pickups.
Right.
It was crazy. Like I heard a lot about that. Like they took a lot of battlefield pickups from people, because they had people that were like Rob O'Neill, the guy who killed Osama bin Laden. He talks a lot about how he in their how the SEALs have their own little space, and everywhere they go they get built out. They had like every variation of the AKs hanging on the wall in their little space, their little
I think y'all deserve that stuff.
The SEALs did?
Cage.
Yeah, like anything they'd pick up, if they didn't have it on the wall already, they would take with them and they'd put it on the wall, but they had to get rid of it all before they came home.
Or something on
Every SEAL has a
on
cage.
Osama's.
Okay, they call it, and it's about this size.
You got to take a button or an eyeball or something.
Something. Y'all deserve that stuff. I'm sorry. I feel that way.
Well, when you went in there, so we say every SEAL has a cage about this size, okay? And you've got every type of equipment that you normally have, including weapons, because you've got the MP5, you've got the M4, you've got
because they kit themselves out when they're out there,
right? And because you don't know what you're going to need at that moment, so you're known. So it's sort of like, okay, you just go in a cage and get what type of equipment you need from your own cage, and you got all your weapons there, you got your ammunition there, you got everything right there, for doing it. So that's what they have that.
So when you were buying that, you knew you were going to buy both of them? Or
no, I was going to get the M1 Thompson, and then I started getting wild, and I went.
So how does that take us into your space? So you know that they're having an auction. You bought these through an auction house. You have somebody on the phone with you raising a thing?
Exactly.
Did you really?
It was my first time. I had never done this before.
So it's a physical auction or it's an online auction?
It's an online. Well, it's both. It's online.
You can see what you're bidding on?
Yes.
Live?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're all
But there's
numbered.
A person that you're talking to?
Yeah, and he. In my case, it was a.
That's what they do with the car auctions too. The fancy car auctions.
And the guy was on the line with me, and he'd say, so they would go, okay, it's we're going to start this off at $10,000.
Yeah, give me a 40.
That's right. That's exactly right. So I would just hold off, and go on once, go on twice, and then you go. You want it? Hold on. Okay, go to the next level. All right, because I didn't want to start, just jumping ahead because I'm thinking maybe nobody
how
knows
much
what
were
they're
you?
talking about. Well,
not that you have to say what you spent, but how much were you prepared to spend?
Well, it was my first time, so
what was
I didn't
your
know.
limit?
I was hoping I was going to go. Okay, I was going to go like 30,000, 34,000
for each one.
Well, I didn't know I was going to have two. okay, I was only going to do the M1. Well, the first I was doing it for the M1.
Must be nice, money bucks.
And I was really, because it took 30 years. This
is when we say this has all been a fake. Give me a while. Get him.
And if you follow my advice from DraftKings, I'm telling you trust me. Okay.
Trust me. He yells out the door, "Hey, you might want to buy DraftKings." And we're like, "What does that have to do with work?"
No, nothing. It's me trying not to. That's me looking at all the money I'm losing, going, "Hey, it's okay. It's okay.
I can help you
can
with
buy
this,
it."
Okay.
Oh my God!
I can show you how to do this.
I'm so scared.
Thanks, Robin Hood.
Ginger, you can have your own MP40 after I'm finished. Okay, with you. Okay.
I love it.
But it just happened where I got the M1, and then they had like 3 MP40s coming up, and I'm thinking, man, this is like okay. I did it this time. I'll worry about it later as far as the amount, okay? And it came up, and I said, you know what? I want lot number, because they go by lots, and this was like lot number 204, and this was like lot number 307 or 309, and so that's what.
I don't think you should do this.
Go ahead.
God.
Go ahead. You want
so
it. You know you want to hold it.
It is really
you know you
cool.
want to hold it. It wants to be held by
guns.
you.
I baby talk guns.
You
so
baby
it's
talk.
like-
You go ahead and baby talk
Guns
that
and
all you want.
cars.
It's all. That's exactly right. I'll tell you what, Ginger. Later on, you can be in one stall. I'll be in the next.
Wait, is this in our safe?
This
Yeah.
is what?
Nothing.
It's gonna be all wet and
Uh-oh.
sticky next time. you
Better
come
say
visit
goodbye to it tonight, right?
Damn it.
Better spray that thing next time you come visit it.
That's right. It'll be worn. That metal will be worn off. Right here.
Damn it, Ginger.
That metal.
Leave my gun alone.
That's right. I'm now Ginger's. I'm not. I don't want you on.
Nothing
right?
but lipstick and stickiness all over that thing. Ugh.
After I've been held by Ginger, Andre, you
Jesus.
think I want to be held by you?
Look, he's gonna be
Not.
like, hey, Jen, can you come get this out for us? Clean it up.
Ginger's
now.
got her clothes off again on the goddamn safe.
And the MP40.
I love this thing.
It is cool, man.
And you know it doesn't have much
And
recoil.
think about in like 30 years
Gin-
what that thing will be worth.
That's what I'm. Now you know that's because you asked me
Sit
that
on
question
that
before, and I'm
baby.
thinking that's too because when it comes to fully automatic World War II weapons, they're gonna go up.
Oh, of course.
They're gonna. It's not a matter of if. It's what they're going up for. Now you know what with
You're a
Eric.
bad
Lots of
influence.
Stamps and stuff on it.
Yes, I am. Thank you very
You
much.
can know all original because the Nazis
Yeah, take
used
it,
to
please.
stamp the shit out of everything. So it's got a stamp on the underfolder, got a stamp on the receiver, stamp on the barrel. They used to stamp the shit out of everything.
Now, Ginger, I
Got
want you to know
two
I
stamps
warned
on the
Devin.
upper seal.
I warned Devin that
Look,
Rock
got a
Island has
stamp on
another
the
one.
charging handle.
The way
Yeah.
this gun makes me feel, guns should not make
Look,
me feel this
got a
way.
stamp.
I'm just saying.
It's got a stamp on the rear sight. It's got a stamp on
Ain't
the
it?
charging handle. Stamp on the receiver.
Now there's
stamp
another
on the
auction
barrel,
coming up in
stamp on the
May.
flashlight.
Okay.
That's the biggest pain in the ass to researching those Walthers that I have is figuring out what all the
Exactly.
stamps mean, what the serial number means, you know, when it was, because there's a lot of it has no records of the serial numbers prior to a certain date. So it takes forever to try to figure. You have to look at they have a database of everyone who's reported their existing serial number so far. And you have to kind of try to fit it into there to guesstimate when yours was made.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's difficult.
And you know, Frank, the good thing about those Walthers because the lower ranking officer.
I like this
in
dude, man.
Germany-
You got the nice watch. I like watches and guns, man.
We
I'm
click-
becoming a fan.
You
bro.
know what? We clicked right away, and you know what? When you showed me this podcast room, I went because
Yeah.
I know studios. This is nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Guns, great alcohol.
I'm digging
wonderful
digging the
friends
watch,
and
the
family.
guns, man. I'm liking it.
We are family, okay? We are family now, okay? And Ginger, you can hold that MP40 and shoot it whenever you want, okay?
Yeah, so that's Midwest
My
Tactical.
favorite.
So that's where we buy our machine guns. Not to give away the keys to the kingdom, but that's usually
Oh.
where we get our stuff from.
Midwest Tactical. Yeah, okay.
And they have,
wanna check it out.
you know, there's not a ton of stuff, but it's kind of like an auction website. But then most of the machine guns aren't auctioned; they just give you a price.
Okay.
But you can call them, and I've called them and say, "Look, man, I bought 4 from you last quarter. I'll give you this. I got this for trade if you want it." And
Well, I do want. Let me on the Christmas wish list. I do want the 21 or the 23 Thompson. That's my next on the.
you don't want like an auto sear or something that like an
They're beautiful.
M16 or something.
They're beautiful, and I
something that's
love to
easier
shoot
to-
them. But as far as like,
You're not worried about finding parts or anything,
well, in a way,
or you're not going to shoot them that much.
I'm not at 40. The
I
rounds
think
at
it's
45 rounds.
I think it's more the history of it.
No, I do too. But I mean,
I
if
love
I
the
was
history.
going to buy a bunch, I'd at
Like
least
if-
buy one that I
like
could
that-
Yeah.
shoot the shit out
Like
of.
I had the Colt PS1. What are they? What are
Yeah,
they?
SP1.
Yeah, SP1. And
God, that 8K. Look at that thing, man.
and I had an
5.56.
SP1 that was
It's
you know
a
how-
47 converted
tens
to
of
5.56.
thousands or hundreds of thousands of those were made. I had serial number 98.
Yeah, I think you
Wow.
bought that from some idiot that sold it to you cheap because
Yeah.
he
It
was
was like
your
I bought it for
friend.
like
They
$400
didn't.
bucks.
What's the
And-
price?
And I'm sorry, 198 because the first 100 were
Make
given
offer only,
to
Paul?
Colt employees.
Yeah.
So I had serial number 198, and I actually sold it to a collector
I see
for
it.
a lot more than what I bought it for.
You know, it's amazing, like those Thompsons. Okay, because they came out in 1921 for World War I, and World War I ended in 1918. Well, so they missed the war. So all of a sudden they had all these Thompsons. They were selling cheap because...
That's why the mob used them. Tough guy.
And that's when they finally made them illegal in 31 or 32. But
yeah, wasn't it after like the Valentine's Day massacre or something like that? That's when they had the crackdown?
You could, you could go ahead. Wow, that's a Browning. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, water cooled.
That's a water
cooled Browning.
What does that mean? They dipped the can in
1917
water and poured it over the top of it?
Well, no, it's a 1917 A1, so that big barrel.
I know, I'm just saying.
But Frank, you got a point.
You'd fill that cylinder up with water, and the barrel would be inside of it.
And you see what you had, which they'll never show it, but they usually don't show it in the movies, but there's a hose that came out the side, and you had a box full of water, and it would circulate the water to keep the barrel cool. Right. Because as we saw, you just shoot one stick, one mag, and this thing.
I remember seeing a movie like that where they had a pot. And they were scooping water and pouring it over the barrel, to cool it down.
Well, one of the things I read is that with this thing, when they first came out...
There's a guy in this room that talks every now and then.
oh my God, there's somebody else.
I saw him look around like, what the...
And you let him talk, too, right?
That's our producer, Paul. Well, one of the things I heard that they would do is they'd rip all that packing out, all that cooling material out, because they didn't realize that they thought it was packing material, and they would start to overheat, and they had to teach them that, hey, no, this is for water cooling. And that's one of the things I heard. Those are really cool. It's another one of those ones that I want.
And you're right, because they used, now the Browning, the 1917 Browning, was used at the early part of the war in the Pacific during World War II in Guadalcanal and others before they had other machine guns. But what they also had was a glove, and it was made out of like a steel, not steel when we think of steel, but like a
chainmail or something?
Like a chainmail. And the whole point was that you needed to use it because when you touched that, when you pulled up that machine gun to either retreat or to advance, that barrel
That's it,
was
man.
so
That's what
hot.
I would buy right there.
Which one was that?
It looks like a PDW, like that little SP89 clone, that MP5 variant, right there. That's what I would buy.
That's beautiful.
Fuck, man, that thing's cool.
We used...
God damn it, Andre.
We used...
It's sold.
The Falcons. You
it's
got
sold.
it.
Did it? What,
Yeah.
Did it tell you what it sold for? No.
Go down. It says price none.
Oh, that's a real MP5K.
That thing's fucking cool,
That
dude.
is beautiful.
Yeah. We used to call those, well, not that one, but the MP4, MP5.
We have 4 of them in the safe that you
Do
can
you?
rent, but they're not transferable. They're SOT dealer samples.
The 9 millimeters?
Suppressed.
Yeah.
We used to call those the room because when you go into a room or checking a house out, you want something that's maneuverable. You don't want something with a stock with it or so that was what you really wanted to use was the...
Well, the military just switched to that B&T. What model is that, Devin? That B&T MVS or whatever it is, or MH something. To try to replace the MP5.
B&T makes a sub gun that it's
a
a
small
It's a
sub-gun.
GHM9.
GHM9. That's it. That's it.
See, every now and then I know something.
Yeah,
Devin knows a lot.
you know a lot. You knew that paperwork you had to fill out for me.
So okay,
You've done that.
I'm glad you said that because I didn't write that down on my list of shit to talk about when I'm drunk. But what did you think? Have you gone through the process before?
No.
Okay, so tell people what to
brand new.
expect when they buy a suppressor or a machine gun or an SBR.
Do you want me to set that down?
Yeah. I've been trying.
Okay, you.
But if anybody wants to
ahead.
hold it,
you go right ahead.
But if anybody wants to
No,
hold
go ahead.
it, but I mean, it's sort of like
I couldn't believe the amount of rise that you get on that when you shoot it. I don't know how those fuckers held them out the side of cars.
I can't believe the condition that one's in.
Frank, you have no idea the rise I'm getting right now just holding this thing.
I thought it was because you were sitting next to me.
That's it. Oh baby,
shaved, Frank.
oh baby, oh baby,
Yeah,
oh.
Frank, God.
That's it.
So going through
Tickles.
from an outsider, because I try to explain it and it's kind of boring coming from me, and I don't know how to explain it.
You did a good job
As
because I
well.
am the outsider.
Well, yeah, but some lingo is in the know, and what? So you buy an NFA item, a machine gun, a suppressor, short barrel shotgun, short barrel rifle. What do you do then?
Okay, so you have to have your fingerprints, and you have to have your
Why would you need fingerprints?
Well, they want to make sure that you're the right person.
You need your fingerprints at the time you purchase it,
What? No, at the time, well, to start the paperwork.
What paperwork?
Well, you need paperwork.
Andre, what are you talking
You
about?
do.
Explain.
You know, in government, everything moves on paperwork.
All right, so you buy an NFA item, you bid on it.
Yep.
You're drunk as shit at 2 a.m. You're bidding on it in England. You win.
You're screaming, and you're going, I got it.
All right, then what happens?
The next thing, I called Eric, and I go, I got it.
You said, holy shit, I need somewhere to stay for the next 6
He
to 8
said-
years.
he
My wife
said-
is going to fucking kill me.
No, I'm single, okay?
Oh, God.
I'm
man,
single
I
with an
like you more.
M1, with an
Holy
M1.
shit.
That's why he's got
And
machine
an
guns and
Holy shit.
Rolexes.
That's why he's got money.
I don't have a wife. I'm divorced. So, okay.
Oh, I love it. All right,
So-
continue.
So that's it. So I have that. So I called him and he goes, "You got the M1?" I said, "Well, not only did I get the M1." He goes, "What did you also do?" I said, "I got a German MP40." He goes, "No kidding." He goes, "Can I shoot it?" I said, "Can you shoot it?" I said, "After Ginger, when
course.
Ginger's finished with
That's
it."
right.
So then
Eric would say okay.
So he gave me all the information.
It might
for
not
Jefferson
shoot
Gun.
after Ginger's.
Frank! Shusha! What we do in the safe has nothing to do with anything else.
That's what goes on in the safe stays in the
I
safe.
don't know.
Yeah,
Yes,
there's no
it's
cameras in the safe, is
Yes.
there?
That's it stays
there is.
there.
There it is. And audio.
And audio, right.
That'll be on YouTube later.
So then they send it to Jefferson Guns, or they send it to a a Class 3 dealership?
Right.
Is that
Correct.
okay? A Class 3 dealership. So once that finally occurs, then I go to Jefferson Guns to make myself known and introduce myself to everybody, to my new friends. Okay, to let them know that hey. It's me, okay? Don't go, who sent me this? Let me just sell it because they sent me an M1 Thompson
we
by
would never.
mistake. So, and thankfully, so when you filled up, helped me with the paperwork, that was the first time I had ever gone through that. Yep, for the machine gun. So you had to be fingerprinted, and you also had to be. Now I've been fingerprinted many times, and through military and through because I
Criminal
had
history.
What I did, I used to be worked with Homeland Security. So what I was able to do was I had to be fingerprinted for a top secret clearance, and also I had a TS clearance with the military. So you had to be fingerprinted and gone through the background for that too. So I'd been all that, but I'd never been going through the paperwork circumstance for the full automatic.
I had to do it. I was part of the PRP program. You know what that was?
No, what is that? Yeah.
Personal reliability.
Why don't you swallow, you fucking
Please.
goofball?
Please.
It feels so
Just,
good in the
you
mouth.
know
It
what?
This is
tastes
when
so
the,
good.
see, 30
It
minutes.
tastes
This
so
is when the
good.
wheels fall
Hey.
off this thing.
I tried to feed his
We
ass
start
before
eating
we
pizza.
came in here. And he wouldn't eat.
Such a goofball.
Damn.
Nuke program.
Did you really?
Load nuclear bombs.
Frank
Really?
invented the nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
You see, this is where because if you saw my science grades,
Frank.
you wouldn't get me anywhere
Fucking
near
Frank.
that. Okay, so IT and science are two things that I know
He's trying to drink
nothing
that
about.
nasty
Drinking
drink.
a mimosa, a gasoline mimosa.
No, that's impressive.
This
So
is
you were
Shirley
with the
Temple.
nuclear. You were with the nuclear program.
Well, like I said, I loaded nuclear weapon.
Oh, okay.
Which
That's cool.
He's the one that licked the side of the wall after they blew the nuclear bomb. Went through
All
the wall,
volunteer,
and they
you know,
watched him.
They licked
bombs
the
we
windows.
didn't have, you know.
Uh-huh.
But we loaded them. They would call away certain drills, and we would load them in case they needed to drop them, you know. But they didn't tell like the Marines that were watching us that it was a drill,
Okay.
and they were kind of fanatical, you know. Like they would shoot your ass if you did something wrong, you know.
Uh-huh.
And they did stuff like they're the ones checking your ID when you're walking into the exclusion area when you're ready to load these weapons. And if you literally stepped in like 1 foot and sat down a toolbox, and you walked out, grabbed another toolbox, and walked back in, they want to check your ID again. You know, that's the kind of shit they did.
Really?
But yeah,
Those Marines.
it was mostly just being prepared for that kind of stuff. You know, like we'd pull them out, and I said this on another podcast. They look like old 1950s rockets. You know, like the movies have the old rockets. You know, like the B-61 and B-57.
Uh-huh.
Those are two nuclear bombs that we used to have. I don't know if we still have them, but they would literally. I hope I don't get in trouble for that. But they would. They look like
What goes
old,
on here stays in here.
They look.
Yeah.
They look like old like rockets in the 1950s movies, you know, like spaceships. So, but it was kind of cool to do.
That is interesting. You said it's an area that I'm not familiar with. That's where.
Well, and we got first flight out, last flight, or last flight out, first flight back home. You know, you got privileges for doing it. Head of the line
Getting all
privileges.
that radiation poison. I'm glad they gave you.
Yeah.
Head of the
They
line
wanted you away
privileges
from
in the
everybody.
chow line. You
Frank's-
know.
Now
Frank's
we know
really-
what's wrong with him.
Frank's really
That's what
16 years
happened.
old, and he used to have brown eyes.
And if you turn the lights out, I go up.
Is that why he doesn't have hair?
I don't need night vision. I have it.
Ever since then, thanks to the military.
That's right.
All right, so you got
Yeah,
your. So at this point, we got your Form 4 filled out.
Yep.
Which is what you need to send to the ATF.
Right. And then it really helps if I remember it when I leave to get back in the car. I
got
get
you
back in
covered.
my car.
I was gonna mail it, and then I remembered that you didn't have a check,
Have
so
a
I
check.
had to call you.
I'm halfway down Airline Highway, I'm on the interstate when all of a sudden the phone rings and, it's Devin. I'm going, oh my God. It's like a light switch. I forgot because we
You
start
realize.
talking. Well, we start talking over and the more we started talking, I completely forgot the paperwork right there. When we started we clicked as far as, talking about everything and anything. So I picked it up the next day and put a check with it. And thankfully you told me exactly how to send it, and so I sent it off. Now that's as far as I know. So
That's
usually
about
takes,
it. That's about it.
So it usually takes, you said, what, about 6 to 8 months? to
Right
be
now,
able-
we're getting Form 4s back from July, August. So yeah, about 8 months. But we're selling less though, so it's gonna go back down.
Okay.
It goes up and down and up and down.
So
up and
Devin,
down.
what you're telling me is that Ginger has 8 months to be in the safe with that MP40.
Yeah, it's gonna stink.
Fondling
gonna-
your
It's
MP40.
gonna be. I'm gonna take. You won't know.
Ginger, we got that one there right there for you. You can buy.
Ginger, just to see the
Why would-
smile on your
why would
face,
it
I'm
stink?
very happy to
But it's
make you
pending.
happy.
Oh, it'll
It's pending.
stink.
It's pending.
That's awful.
Oh, so that one.
That is not true.
Not bad, but like
That's
yeah.
not-
Never
You're gonna
mind,
make-
never mind.
You're going to make me spit this food out.
Andre's a
Please
good
don't.
guy.
I don't want gasoline.
No
on
matter
it.
what they
down to-
say,
He said-
Devin. No matter what
He
they
said,
say.
oh, that stink.
Now I don't know. Are there any more of the MP40s besides that one?
You want another one?
No, I was thinking for Ginger. I'm
Thank
thinking
you.
for
See,
Ginger.
That one's
he's
in- that
being
one's-
thoughtful.
That one's pending. That's
He's thoughtful.
22
Chivalry
grand.
is not dead.
That's
That's an
right.
ICU.
That's
That's an
right.
ICU,
Not
but
in
it's
the
not
good
dead.
shape.
Ginger, if
That's
you
the
got
one
that
you got.
kind of cash, you know.
She does.
Ginger does have
She
that kind
balls
of cash.
hard.
My daughter needs
I'll
her
be-
student loans paid off.
Not just sugar mama, baby.
You can buy that and sell it a month later and have it.
All right, so this is what we're gonna get into next, man, because I haven't been able to get, and I don't know why. Maybe you can tell me.
Okay.
So I got interested in the stock market after this past year, after everything crashed.
Uh-huh.
And we put all of our money, which wasn't much. We put all of our money in the stock market, and it went up because after March of 2020, I guess that's when it kind of bottomed out, which is right when we bought, Apple and
That's good.
Carnival and stuff like that.
It's good when you buy it at the bottom.
Right. So I got a couple of the guys I work with. One of them, Ginger, works with now too, and said, "Why don't you come on the podcast and explain?" Taking a hard right here. Explain why the stock market does some of the stuff it does. And they all said, "Oh, I'm with blah blah company, and I can't." But you talk about it on your show.
I'm not with any company, so I can talk.
But why would
whatever
they
you want.
not talk about it?
Well, what happens, and that's a good question. It is, because I have these people on my show.
Talk about the stock market.
Talk
to
about the
make
stock
myself
market, right?
Clear.
So I have some of these people, and they're not allowed to recommend specific stocks. Now they can talk about
Well, I
general.
mean, that's not
things.
what I wanted to talk to them about. I
Yeah.
just wanted to know, okay, so
Why
2
things
days ago,
drop.
2 days ago,
Okay.
we're talking about DraftKings.
Right? Correct.
Doing well. They partnered with UFC. They partnered with like the NBA, UFC, WWE, and their stock dropped like 11%.
Exactly.
Why?
Because the market moves in a panic. Okay, and a lot of people think that, well, Wall Street, they must really know what they're smart, and they know what they're doing, and they know things like forward earnings, P&E ratios, and other types of technical terms. But what they do is, if all of a sudden, if the Suez Canal, there's a ship that blocks the Suez, let's sell. Oh my God, let's sell. Well, nothing what DraftKings did has anything to do with the Suez Canal. Or, well, if the Twin Towers get hit on September the 11th,
Right.
2001, oh my God, it's a
Well, I mean,
panic
that
sell.
I can understand, but
Right.
it
But it doesn't have to
veers
correlate.
so wildly that it seems like it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
Is there like an algorithm? So So how is a stock price generated from day to day?
A stock price is generated through forward earnings. See, when we buy something normally, all of us here, we buy what we think that it's valued at today. Stocks are generated with prices of what they think it's going to be of earnings a year or 5 years or 10 years from now. So a stock such as, and I'm just going to bring up names like Intel or Google or Apple, they may have a forward earning, which they call a PE ratio, profit earnings, a ratio forward of a number which is usually, let's say, a 20 or a 24 or a 25. A bank, on the other hand, has a forward earning.
Frank's fucking with you. Well, look,
something tells me I got to keep looking out for the guy tomorrow.
Is I don't really.
I'm like, okay.
Give me that.
I lost you at forward earning, right?
So in layman's terms,
you need more of Old Smoky.
In layman's terms, it's generated by what the company is going to earn in the future.
It's all earnings, correct? Earnings.
But how does
buy low, sell high? That's what I know.
But how does perfect example, which is kind of my next point.
Okay.
GameStop.
Okay.
What the hell happened to GameStop?
GameStop, they have what's called...
Because isn't that a business that's like tanking right now?
It is, because
nobody's renting like Blockbuster was.
Well, correct, because they had the stores. They had the literally brick and mortar stores that people go to. Well, today, with kids, what they go... Remember, I'm IT challenged. So a lot of kids today, when they want to go for the video games, they get them online. Activision, Blizzard, and
and Xbox even is or Xbox, PlayStation, all they also facilitate that, so you can buy the games and just download them right to the console. Now you don't have to go to the store and get the actual DVDs or anything.
Right. So what happens is now when I say shorting a stock, does people know what I mean when they're shorting stock? Most people, when you buy a stock, you think you buy it at 50 and you hope it goes to 100. Well, there are people who go, you know what? This is going to tank. So I'm going to short the stock, which means you think the stock is going to drop. So you're going to make money when the stock goes down.
What's the time frame that it needs to go down, though?
That's an excellent question. Great question. Okay. And this is how when you short a stock, you borrow the stock let's take a weapon. Okay, let's say I understand that M1 Thompsons are going to go on sale. They're normally $25,000, and I understand that I got somebody that's going to sell it for $20,000 or $18,000. Okay. So I'm going to borrow, Devin. I'm going to borrow your Thompson at $25,000, and I'm going to sell it and get $25,000, and then I'm going to buy it back at a later date at $18,000.
Okay.
Now, that's $7,000 difference I keep. Now, that's good, but what happens if all of a sudden I go wrong and the stock goes up? Well, I still have to buy the stock back because I still got to give you your stock back. All right? I've got to give you your stock back. So I have to pay more. I sold it for $75 and I got to buy it back for $100. I've lost $25. Now, when you go to a brokerage house and you're signing, it's sort of like when you buy a house, you're signing, they're putting papers in front of you that you don't have no idea, but you're signing things. Okay. One of the papers that you sign that you don't actually have to, you don't have to do it, but somebody go, Devin, you need to sign this. Ginger, okay, you got to sign this. Frank, sign this paper. One of the papers is the agreement that you can loan out your stock. All right. You can loan it out. And let's say if I wanted to short, I use your stock, I sell it. Now, let's say you need stock. Let's name a stock, DraftKings, okay? GameStop. Okay, let's say GameStop. A lot of the hedge funds, okay, especially there was one particular, they shorted it because they thought it was about $20, $15, $20 a share, and they thought it would go down to 5 or 3 or hopefully 2. So they were shorting it. Well, there's a website called Wall Street Bets.
So they buy it in advance at 5? Is that what you're saying?
No. What they do is they borrowed GameStop from like your account and Ginger's account and Devin's account, and then they sold it for $20. Now.
Oh, and then rebought it.
rebought it, hoping that they're going to rebuy it at 5.
I got
because they sold it at 20.
That makes more. That's a pretty good explanation.
And that
Right.
$15
So
spread.
people figured out that they were doing that and wanted to stick it to them.
And they wanted to exactly.
But how did they?
So what
I still don't
happened?
understand how they get it to go up to $500 a share.
This is how, and that's a great question.
Because wouldn't everybody? Why don't we do
Because
that?
everybody buying it
Because
drives
you
the
got to
price
have
up.
you got to have such volume. You got to spend 100 million, 125 million, 200 million in that stock for the needle to start going up. Well, there's a website called Wall Street Bets, okay? And they started talking about buying GameStop. Well, there were like 500 or 400,000 of people like us going, yeah, let's buy. I'm buying 20 shares. I'm buying 100 shares. I'm buying 200 shares. Well, that started making the needle go up. Because remember, when I first started in the business, all right, if you wanted to buy 100 shares of stock, you had to you had to pay a commission, okay, to your
now
friendly
with
broker.
like Robinhood and stuff like that, you don't have to.
It's free. It's all free. So now, if you bought 100 shares at $30 a share, okay, so you had 100 shares at $30 a share. That's $3,000. You might have had to pay $75 or $80.
Yeah, every time
for
I
your
trade
commission.
with our company, it's $50.
Okay, right. Well, then it started going down to $25 flat fee. And then it started going to $8 flat fee. And then Charles Schwab, about a year ago, said free. Well, all of a sudden, if Charles Schwab did it, all the others had to do it too. So now it's free. So now all these individuals are going, I don't have to pay commission. So now the stock started going up. Well, the hedge funds that were shorting it, they were taking it literally in the shorts, okay, because the stock price was going up. Well, they were hoping to make money. So now they've got to buy the stock back so
at the price that it's currently at.
Exactly.
What they thought it was going to be.
Because now all these
So
more
when do
people-
you think they actually sold it? Do you think that they said at $30 this isn't going to last?
a lot of these
little, and then at 40,
some of these hedge
it's
funds
gotta go
had to
down
get out
soon, and
because
then-
they were busted. They
how
couldn't.
much money you thought they lost?
Oh, I would say 1.5 to 2 billion, $2 billion,
Oh, Jesus.
and that's billion with a B. Okay.
Holy shit!
Now I'll tell
That's
you,
a lot of cheese.
my first.
so you think they're going to do this again?
Oh, there's shorting going on all the time.
No. Like
With
GameStop.
there are. Because right now, GameStop, I don't know what it closed at. Oh, well, okay, 189.
That's still so high.
It's still so high. You see, like, what I would do, I don't...
Go to a 1 year, Paul, because it
Well, you gotta
actually
scroll down. Look, the low.
no go to 1 year. I'll show you because
$2.57.
it goes up and then look, it goes up again.
Yeah.
Why did it?
well, they
man.
announced their earnings last week, and
Yeah, but see,
they
it
were low.
peaked and then it crashed.
Yep.
And then it went up. They did it twice.
Right. Well, on Wall Street Bets, they're still saying we're buying more. We're buying
Well,
more.
look,
So
a year ago it was $2.57.
I know.
$2.57, and that's why but
And the 52-week high is
Right. That's a good point.
483.
so you're right, Frank. So you look at it when it was $20, and you think, well, the low was at $2.57. If it drops down to $3 from $20, that's $17 a share. If I own 10,000 shares or 100,000 shares, I can make a killing. All right. But now all of a sudden, it went
Yeah, so
just
why
the opposite.
wouldn't you short it now? You know that company's not worth $190 a share.
Yes, you're correct. You're absolutely correct. And the reason why is that, well, first off, I don't usually do the shorts. Okay, that's not my thing.
Because it would seem like to anybody
Right.
listening that this is the perfect time to short that stock.
It would seem like that, but because of the history, of the recent history, if that thing goes up from 189.82 to 289.82, I've got to buy it back. I sold it at 189. I got to buy it back at 300 to 289. I'm going to lose very big. Now, if it drops to $89, I can buy that back. I just sold the stock at 189, and I can buy it back at 89 and collect $100 a share. But if it doesn't,
So what's the time frame though?
well, that's a good. When so many people are buying, your friendly neighborhood broker is going to call you and go, Andre, okay, you need to purchase them because let's say, remember I said that they get the shares out of your portfolio, and Ginger out of your portfolio, and Frank out of yours. Well, you don't really know it because of the fact that you're going about your business. Well, let's say you want to buy the shares or you want to sell those shares. Well, you don't have those shares because I'm borrowing it. So the broker calls me and goes, Ginger wants to sell her shares at $200. Okay, I need the 300 shares that Ginger had. I've got to purchase those right away. Well, when you purchase them, what happens?
They can call it in at any time.
That seems like a rat ass thing to do.
It is, and you see, you get caught in a
racket.
So, like, let's say if it's just 300,
Let's burn it down.
yeah,
I will.
Let's do it. I'll drink to that. But you see, now if it's just one person wants 300, they'll find it because they'll borrow those 300 from someone else's account.
So is there like a computer that dictates the price of shares?
Today things are so
Because I still don't
fast.
understand how.
I don't understand any of it.
I don't even know who you are.
I like to, because maybe I miss, and if I like to know what.
But
where
how does the
misplayed.
price get generated? I still don't understand.
Like
'Cause
futures
I've lost
and all that.
a lot of money in the
Of
last
why it would
week.
be $189?
Why DraftKings, which
Okay.
just signed with all of these Frank's all drunk eating
Frank!
pizza. Why?
It wasn't from the alcohol; it was the food that he
spit
ate.
on you?
Why would a company that's doing all these great things, bunch
Yeah.
of people are buying, me included, because I'm an idiot. Why would it go down 60 to 50, 20%, or 18% in 2 or 3 days?
I usually say
I don't
use
see
the-
how it makes any sense.
because Wall Street, instead of using a scalpel, uses a meat cleaver. Because a scalpel, for people, is a very fine thing. I'm going, DraftKings didn't have anything to do with that. This was GameStop. Okay, so we're not going to borrow. But what they do is they just take the whole thing and sell.
So it's more like a hatchet.
Like a hatchet. You know what? He's not so drunk.
Or
That's
a-
exactly right. It's
Or
like
a
a hatchet.
machete.
You're getting it.
Like a machete. Well, on their aluminum, right?
Aluminium.
The aluminium, right? But you see, like a hatchet. So it uses. So what you do is you can profit from
So
that.
it usually trends throughout the entire market instead of in an individual stock doing good or bad.
Right, and that's why if you remember
You're,
the last
you're
time.
understanding a lot more than I am.
I got money, man, in this. I've
You
been
look
drinking
like
apple
you're
juice for the
smoking
last
this
hour.
Too much
you
apple
look
juice,
like-
Frank.
I'm
Too much
trying to
apple
dig
juice.
myself out of this fucking hole that I'm in.
But Devin, remember when you and I were together last time? I said,
You know what I did
said,
after you
okay.
left?
What did you do?
Bought $4,500 worth of
Oh my
DraftKings?
God.
DraftKings.
Oh, the pressure I have now. No, I think you're going to do okay. Because here's what you need to ask yourself. Do I need it like within the next 6 months?
He's
Yeah.
trying to short that shit.
Yeah.
Got
He's
you to buy
borrowing
it.
your shit. Guess what Devin has?
Dump it.
Yeah, I need it in the
Dope
next 12 to 18 hours. The movers are coming tomorrow.
No, if you're
The moving van is at
See,
my house right now.
But you're a young man, so let's say you're looking for a long term. That's going to be a good buy. Yeah, that's a good buy. Remember, there was an investor.
Yeah, but you're not worried about like the current political climate that we're in. Same thing with the guns.
There's a guy named.
I might not have a job in 2 years from
Well,
now.
there's a-
I don't think it'll be in a month, but
Yeah.
in 2 years, you
Well-
might not be able to buy any of this shit.
There's an investor, and he lives in
I'm
Omaha.
putting in my 2-year notice.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
putting
not
in your
gonna-
2-year notice. Okay.
If he
Or you-
leaves, I'll leave.
If they lock the door, you don't have to give
I
them.
know. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Ginger,
You're
I know
right.
for a fact you'll be here for the next 18 months, for the next 8 months, okay? Because of that MP40.
Oh yes.
So
Yes.
you'll be here for the next
I
8
still know
months
the
for
code.
sure. But there's an investor in Omaha, Warren Buffett. Okay,
I've heard of him.
I heard of him. Okay, well he has a saying: "Never bet
He
against."
sings
the
Margaritaville.
That's exactly right. Yes, that's it.
Good song.
And his cousin Jimmy is involved in the stock market.
Too much apple juice.
Waiting for those shrimp to boil, right? But you see, Warren Buffett said, he said, never bet against the U.S. economy. That's a bad bet since 1776. So if you have and there was an investor in the 1920s and 30s named Bernard Baruch, and he said, always buy when there's blood in the streets. Okay? So in other words, when everybody else is panicky, you just sit back.
I think the villain from James Bond said that too.
Well, that may be where we heard it from. You know, we heard Blowfield
Hey,
say that.
Javier Bardem was a
During the
genius.
Great Depression, those guys made some cash.
If you buy low and sell high rather than most people buy high
Right.
and sell low because they panic.
They get
'Cause
nervous and
they're
be like, I got to get rid of
They
it.
get nervous because
I got to save something. I got to make some kind of money off of it.
and they see, they look to the guy to the left and they look to the guy on the right and they go, well, he's selling. I better sell too. Whereas what you do, like what you did right with DraftKings,
I'm
okay?
gonna tell my wife this when I get
go-
home.
that's
Thank
right.
you.
Okay, you tell him it's okay. You just hold her
I'm
hand and
gonna
go.
sit on the floor for
Andre
This is a lot of
said.
editing, Paul.
Andre said, "Hold it," and she's gonna go. Who the hell is Andre?
Well, that's the same shit they do in Vegas.
Yeah,
You know, they don't want you walking out of there unless you're in the red.
they're the red.
Yes.
But you see, and here's because people say, well, so you're a gambler? No, I'm an investor, and there's a difference because if you go to Vegas and you go to the roulette wheel, okay, or the crap table, you roll that dice and you don't know you've got odds of winning or odds
Yeah,
of
but
losing.
you got a lot going on here. You wearing a Rolex, you got machine guns, you got your headphones on backwards. I am in a totally different ball game.
I want to thank Ginger for giving me some of this old smoky.
I got a few pennies in the stock, and I'm trying not to get divorced here.
I started off just with that. I borrowed on my credit cards. Okay, I borrowed on my credit cards.
What was the? You remember the first stock you bought that was a winner?
That's a really good question. I wish I could, because it's been a long time, and I don't. What was my first stock? Maybe Blockbuster.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Winner!
That's a long time.
It's been a long time. But you know
winner.
what? That's a great question. I got to look that up because that's been.
DVDs.
I really,
That
I really
maybe it
like
was the buggy
Blockbuster.
whip.
If Blockbuster was still around, I'd still go to Blockbuster.
There's still
You
one
would?
that exists.
I would.
Well,
I
when-
loved Blockbuster.
When
I
Reed
did love going
Hastings,
to Blockbuster.
Reed Hastings of Netflix put Blockbuster out. Because,
I don't know how I missed that one.
Okay, well,
I don't know how I missed not buying Netflix when the coronavirus happened.
I bought
How the fuck did I miss that?
I bought Netflix when it was like $78 a share. And then it dropped to $74. So I bought more. And then it dropped to $72. So I bought a little more. And then it dropped to $70. So I bought a little more. And I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to get money. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll hold off. It's sort of like making an auction on this weapon.
Right.
You want to hold off. And I'm hoping maybe it'll drop to 65 or 60. Because, you see, I'm okay buying at 75 or 78 and it drops to 60 because I'm in
you're so
short
crazy.
term for me is 6 to 10 years. Now, that was in 2014 or 2015 when I bought Netflix at 71 or 70 is where it stopped. And I think it may have gone to 68 or 70. I'm thinking, well, maybe it might go lower. But then it started picking up. And I think it closed Netflix, NFLX. I don't know if you can put NFLX on.
Yeah, you can
I want to
spell.
say it's 500. Oh, that's the symbol. 521. So
Go to 1 year, Paul. Click that 1 year thing.
that's the one I bought at $78 a share.
Click 5
and
years. Let me
74.
see what it was at in March of 2020. Right there, that dip. There it is. February, March. No, March was when we were close. So go to like February 2020.
There we go. So March.
Right, that little dip.
Okay, so it
That's
was
not
at
that
350.
bad,
Yeah.
357.
So
Yeah, well,
see
you
it-
would have doubled your money then. Well, $200
Now,
a
by the
share.
way, it was up to like almost $600 a share. So you could say, but you lost $80. But I'm looking at it for another 10 more years, 11 years. Now, the show that I just had, remember that show I tell you about that I'm on Channel 12? Well, this past Friday, I had Tom Rogers on. Now, Tom was the former president of NBC Cable, and he was also the former CEO of TiVo. All right. And he started MSNBC, and he and I are talking. And I said, what is because his specialty is media stocks. He doesn't do IT. He doesn't do
He must have bought, did he buy GameStop?
He said, no.
No.
Nope, he doesn't do anything. But I said, what's the most I said, if you had X amount of dollars and only buy one stock, what would it be? He said, and he didn't hesitate, Netflix. I said, Netflix, not Disney, because he said Netflix.
When was this?
So far, this was Friday, and this was, in fact, it's on the air. I've got it on the March 26th episode.
Yeah, but aren't
And-
we all suckers, man? We all want to buy that $2 stock.
We
and
all
see
do.
It go to 500.
But it's sort of, you know what? Think of it like a machine gun. Okay, I wish that M1 Thompson would go down from $25,000 to $4,000 again, or $600, but it's not going there. Now, think of like any large purchase we've all made, a car, a house, or whatever. There's some pain at the very beginning when you sign.
I'd help you.
His real name's not Frank.
It's really not Frank. It's Mr. King to you. Andre, my name's not Frank to you. It's Mr. King.
That's okay.
It's okay. To you, it's Mr. King. Like admirals would say, you know, the admiral and I are on first name basis. He calls me Andre. I call him Admiral. So it's always first name.
Right.
But that pain when you buy that initial thing, that car or whatever large purchase, there's a little pain at first, but after a while, it's dead.
No.
No.
I like to buy that kind of stuff.
It's still.
I don't have no pain.
It's still pain. Okay. And that's what.
It's right before you sign it. You go,
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I signed Daffy Duck a lot.
I need some Old Smoky. Oh yeah, because I'm really this thing. The tear stains are on the tear stains
no,
are
that's
on.
my name. Go fuck yourself.
Now, what I can even show you later, or now, or whatever, I can show you how to not pay. Let's say it's $500 a share. Okay, I can show you how to pay $250 for it. Okay, and not have to pay the other $250 for another 2 more years. All right. Now,
Oh shit.
remember,
But you have to pay it.
no, you don't. You don't have to. You can sell it between now and 2 years. And these
Well,
are
you're just buying half of a stock.
well, no, you're buying the whole stock, but you're buying an option.
Okay,
on
this sounds like something we need to talk about off the air.
I'm trying to make my goddamn money back.
Ginger, I swear, Your Honor, that's exactly how it happened. I swear, Judge, that's exact. No, this is an honest. This is okay. What I usually do. All right. Let's say if I wanted to buy a stock that's $500 a share. All right.
I've got 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Oh, we do? Okay. Well, whatever you want to do.
No.
Okay.
I actually enjoyed talking because you're the only one that would talk to me about any of this.
I'll talk to you more
And
about
I'm trying
it, Devin.
to,
You're
I'm
the
trying to dig
I'm
myself out of this hole I'm in.
okay. Here's
My wife doesn't know we have to leave next Friday.
because the house has been
right.
sold from under you.
That's right.
Tell your wife, and I'm happy to tell her that I think your DraftKings was a great buy. Okay,
All
I think
right.
for long term. And I always tell my clients, I don't know what a stock is going to be at the end of the week, the end of the month, or even the end of the year.
But you're confident that it will keip increasing in value.
There's
There's nothing that you're worried about on the horizon.
Is
Okay.
it for you to say?
Politically, that will reinvent the way you see.
Will ruin the stock. No.
That
Now,
will ruin the whole economic chain that we call the United States of
correct.
America.
Now that doesn't mean that there's not.
Have you seen Biden? You saw him fall on those stairs the other day. Oh
did.
man! Look, people think we're gonna change track a little here. People love it, and they think that I would love it. I am terrified that old bastard took a tumble down those stairs.
Because Kamala Harris is in the
Well, did you see him
wings.
talking about? We can show this on YouTube because it's news. Pull up just Joe Biden's gaffe and look at the one from like 2 days ago. He's talking about, man, this scares the shit out of me. I wish he wasn't. Everybody's like, oh, you see all that idiot there elected? He's making all these. That scares the shit out of me, man.
Yeah,
That's the guy. That's the pilot. That's the dude flying the plane,
Yeah.
and I'm
China-
in the fucker.
China
I don't
is
want
looking
him
at
to
that.
That's the
fall
guy
down
flying the
stairs.
plane with the self-destruct button.
He says,
Vladimir-
I can press it if I want to.
he says,
Whoops.
Vladimir
Does it
Putin-
really work?
And Vladimir Putin is looking at this, and he's licking his chops.
He's laughing.
Xi Jinping
Yeah.
from China is looking at this, and he's
Yeah.
going, "Oh, I've got it made." And you got every third world tin dictator, is looking at this thing,
Yeah.
going,
some
"We got
young
it."
man is
Yeah.
looking at this.
Yeah,
thinking,
North Korea is going. We're going back nuking again.
Come
We're
on,
going
some
back.
young guy.
Yeah,
Come on, some young man.
You guys got to
Coming down.
stop that.
that's
You
right.
got to stop doing that
He's not Trump. He's not
because of-
Trump. We're going to shoot him.
because of the thing and the.
And I got the card right here. Wait, I got
That's
my
what he
card.
says.
I got the card right here.
So-
He
Come
says,
on, man.
he
Come on,
says
man.
anything.
Whatever.
He says anything that you wanna, anything you feel, hold dear to your heart. To my heart, I
whatever.
Well, his mind, when you think about
That's
this,
what he says.
well, I think we've all in our life known somebody, maybe an uncle
oh
or
yeah,
an
it's
aunt.
sad as shit. But this
that
is the
you
dude
see-
with the codes, man.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
I completely. But you know what?
He's
in
in
November,
control of the football.
He's
literally.
yes, he's got the football, and that's the scary thing about it. It's one thing if it was your grandfather or your grandmother,
Oh,
or
it's
you want to take
super
care
sad.
of them, but they're living in the white.
Did you say, and you want to kill him?
No,
No, not Joe Biden. No. But you said like your grandfather, and you want to kill him?
no,
Is that
and
what you-
and they're not living in the Oval
Frank.
Office.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Frank, I don't have my M1 yet. Okay,
But no, I'm
okay.
just
I don't want the
Because
government-
I have a really
That
old
is
dog
nothing.
that doesn't listen. He's blind and deaf, and my daughter all the time says, "Oh, I swear."
No, not at all.
That's
no,
it.
I
Can
want
you
it
turn that up,
perfectly
Paul?
understood.
Wait, hold on. I got it. Hold on, because we can listen to this on the podcast. Because people, it's news. Why is it not giving us any?
Well, your audio, the internet
Oh,
here is
shit.
horrible. I keep saying you need to upgrade your audio.
Phones too.
And also, too, it's probably not getting audio through there from here.
Well, this is before he became president.
There will be a lot more coming up because he's not getting better. He's only going to be getting worse.
Yeah, he is.
That's the problem.
Dude, I am terrified about that.
Me
Yeah.
too.
But that doesn't.
Well-
that gives me some solace that you're not afraid that the market won't.
The market will tank. Let me say this: when he steps down and Kamala Harris becomes president,
Oh, God.
the market will
You're
have a
gonna throw
tank.
up.
It will have a tank. I'm
So you're
I'll tell you right now.
anticipating that happening.
Exactly.
Oh,
and
look at
then
this
when
poor
it's
guy,
low,
man, picking himself
when
off
it's
the
low,
red carpet.
I'm going to buy.
Well, yeah. As soon as it
Ugh.
tanks.
See, why wouldn't you sell? Look at the. Oh my God! And then he salutes him afterwards.
Yeah, he didn't salute him going up. He just waits till he gets to the top, and then.
Oh my God!
And they tried to say, well, it was windy. Remember how they said it was windy?
It ain't that windy.
Not that
It's the
windy.
set from Twister. And then he
See-
salutes him. Salute ya.
He knows good and well that's going to be
I broke my knee.
all
He went
around the
there.
world.
While it's sitting on that.
He had to go to medical.
Runway.
Those were the 3 falls heard all around the world. You know,
my God.
that's it.
And you
That's
think you would slow
embarrassing.
down a little bit.
It's embarrassing.
Well, I think he really wanted to
And this is
speed
it,
up
he's
some because he
speeding up.
wanted.
Oh shit! Oh my god! I fuck! Oh my knee! Goddamn, my knee hurts! Oh my god!
Oh, that wind!
look
Oh,
at that.
more wind!
And then he brushes his knees off like it was.
Now there's more gusts of
like he
wind.
just fell.
That's
into the
gonna
hairy
leave a
desert.
mark. That's what he's saying.
Oh. And then I salute the
I
troops.
salute
Remember to
you.
salute them. I got my mask on still over my ears, under my eyes.
That's when he goes in
Chicken
Air
or
Force
fish?
One, going, "Oh my freaking
He goes on
knees
the airplane
hurt
and they
so
say chicken
bad."
or fish.
Close that door. God damn, my knee hurts.
Chicken or fish, Mr. Biden?
Point.
It's Donald
fucking hit him in the head.
Whack! Oh shit! Wow. Right in the head. Oh, knocking him down. Oh, I'm gonna fall down again.
Oh, there's all kind of memes and
This is
stuff
when
that
I
people
twist
have
my
made.
ankle. Oh, I twist my left ankle.
Have you seen the one? Have you seen the one that says like Joe Biden can come get my guns if he wants to, and it's a gun sitting at the top of the stairs?
yeah.
It's Dominic. I haven't seen that.
Oh man, that poor dude, man. And I hate even laughing because it's so sad. But
Yeah.
fuck, dude, I can't believe it. I
It
can't
is.
believe that we had to pick. And I get a lot of shit for this too because people look at me strange. But what is it, like 365 million people in this country? A lot of them are really bright. We had to pick between
The talk show host.
a game show
Or a game
host
show host.
and a guy that has dementia. That's
Do you think?
and they put these two choices in front of us like it's normal.
Yes, but do you think? Okay,
And they think that we're dumb
Trump-
enough to not notice that.
But-
well, nobody wants that goddamn job. That's why.
Well,
That is
nobody
very
that's not
true.
a psychopath wants to be
and
the
Trump,
president of the United
Trump
States.
didn't take a salary. He did it for free.
Well, I mean, they only make like 200 grand, which that dude shits that out
Four.
every.
He makes 400,000. Right. But the point was that I mean it was just
So depressing.
Donald Trump. What he did in the last 4 years, he had unemployment at 3.8%. All right. You know, and African American unemployment was the lowest in recorded history. Hispanic unemployment was the lowest in recorded history. And female unemployment was the lowest, I think, in 30 or 20, either 20 or 30 years. And if it wouldn't have been
He's
for this
smelling
pandemic,
everybody with a vagina. And all that.
oh,
Oh.
Now, if that was a
thing.
Republican,
If you wear a skirt and have ever had a period, you're going to get sniffed
You're
by
getting
Biden.
sniffed.
yes,
You're
if that
getting
was ever a
sniffed.
Republican that would do that, the media would be on it. But the media
yeah.
is so in the tank for Joe Biden.
Did you watch his thing
They
2
have to
days
cover-
ago? They interviewed him and they were saying like, oh, he answered 20-something questions. You know, he's not hiding. And the questions are like, you know, why are you the best president of the...
What's your favorite color?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
so
wait,
like
wait.
preordained.
well, you can see him saying
Yes.
instead of looking and saying you,
They
you know,
had to-
you. He says,
He's like, hang on a
what is
minute.
this,
Take this
Clarissa?
He goes like this. Wait a minute. Because I said so.
Come on, man.
Let me consult my notes for a minute.
That's right. And that's
And
how
he's
they-
like, I'm getting a message. Hold on.
now, if Donald Trump would have done that type of a press conference, the media would have excoriated.
Right, right.
Okay.
Except he would have been, guys would have been screaming in the microphone, don't say that!
Tweet it. Don't say it. Tweet it. That's it.
He was entertaining, man.
Do you think let me
Oh, he just didn't care. He was like, you know, he's that guy that goes, you know, if I want to fucking say something, I'm going to say it.
Right.
do you
know.
think the election was on the up and up?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
I
So
don't.
this is also controversial. I do not. However, I'm not convinced that the level of corruption influenced the election to the point where it changed who would
Well,
have won.
here's the catch.
I think
You
it was
don't
just
have to
people
do
that
the whole
hated
country.
Trump.
You don't have to do the whole country.
Just the
All
swing states.
Exactly.
Right.
In
I
Pennsylvania.
mean, it's possible, but I think
if you
that-
look at the whole state of Pennsylvania, it's a sea of red, which is Republican, except for the major cities.
right, the
Pennsylvania-
major cities have the most people.
Pittsburgh, right. Or think of Louisiana, okay? In Louisiana, we've got a sea of red, except you've got Orleans Parish, which is
Very,
very
very
blue.
Democratic.
Very Democrat, very
Very
blue.
anti-gun.
And very anti-gun. And you've got Baton Rouge for a good portion, but New Orleans is it. And for the longest time, if you remember when, like when Mary Landrieu ran for the Senate or others, Orleans Parish was always waiting to release their totals because they wanted to see what everybody else did,
Yeah.
so they could kind of generate. Well, Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania, and also other, the other cities in Pennsylvania waited to find out. So you generated, and with this pandemic going on with mail-in voting, okay, this was a gift to the Democrats because now you got mail-in voting and you don't need an ID. Now you need an ID to buy a weapon. You need an ID to get on a plane.
We were talking about
You
this
need an
last
ID.
time how voting should be more linear in the way that everybody, you can bank online. You can. I don't know how
Well,
you
I
can't
actually
track
read
your
that
vote
today
in
that
real time online.
they want licenses for you to own a gun, but then they don't want you to need a driver's license to vote for the president.
Correct. That's what they're saying.
What kind of shit is that?
Yeah,
That's right.
Exactly.
And that's it. And they're hoping that you just keep quiet. And if you remember, for 4 years, from 2016 to 2020, they said the Russians stole it. And remember what they used to say? They said the severity of the charges warrants an investigation. Now, all of a sudden, when they won, it shows in 2020, we have to cut debate right away. No debate, none. Okay, and if you dare speak up, okay, well, you're an insurgent, you're
Right.
a traitor, you're the furthest thing from.
Oh, the
worst.
hypocrisy is amazing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The hypocrisy. That's like the old saying: if they didn't have double standards, they wouldn't have any standards at all.
You think
know?
we'll ever get back to the place where we're all Americans again?
It's going to be really hard now because there's a bill in the Senate right now called H.R. 1, and that's the first. And if it passed the House, and if that passes the Senate, it's going to be signed by Biden. It goes. The elections will go from the states. That was guidelined in the Constitution to the federal government, and it guarantees mail-in voting. It guarantees you'll never be able to ask for a voter ID. It guarantees that you have something like 12 to 14 days after the election to keep counting the votes. So in other words, they can see what they have and then generate more votes. Okay.
Are you scared about the future?
I am scared about this H.R. 1. This H.R. 1, because what's holding up is just one, because it's a 50-50 Senate. And the only thing is in the line is Joe Manchin, which scares me anyway, because he's from West Virginia, and he's a big Democrat. But even he sees the problem. Even he sees, okay, this is going too much. So Joe Manchin makes me nervous, but to think that the country is in the hands of basically one guy from West Virginia, that scares me. So H.R. 1 is the first one. And then they're going to have more coming, because they know good and well in 2022, with the next election, the midterms, they'll probably, if they don't do H.R. 1, they're going to lose the House. And they will probably lose the Senate. So they've got to make it now. And what happens is, if you notice, they want to do away with the filibuster. If they do away with the filibuster, that's big because they're going to bring in Washington, D.C. as a state, which means...
Which he promoted.
And maybe even
back
Puerto
when
Rico.
he was
and
a
Puerto
senator.
Rico. It's over with then. Katie barred the door.
He was for the filibuster when he was a senator. Did you see that that speech?
The speech? And Barack Obama was the same way. Okay. In fact, the Democrats used the filibuster more during Trump than at any other time, much more than the Republicans did during.
Well, but now they're in.
But now they're in.
Now they want to cut it all off. Like, we don't want to have the ability for them to put us out.
A wise man about 4 minutes ago said about the hypocrisy. I don't remember who it was, but I think he's to my right. A very wise man, but it's now they want to do away with it because they know good and well they need to do this before 2022, because if they do that, it's over with. Then I think it's over with, because then you're going to have Washington D.C. as a state, 2 more senators that are Democrat, Puerto Rico, 2 more Democrat senators. That's 4, and that's it. And that's why they've got open borders right now. They're just flooding the borders in, flooding the illegals, for doing it. Now that I've made you feel real
guaranteed voters right there.
It's guaranteed voters, because you're going to get free education, free welfare, free health care, free free housing, okay, free food, okay. You don't have that in Central America. So if somebody's offering you free,
what's a shame is we take better care of the immigrants coming in over the border than we do our own veterans.
Yeah,
exactly. You're right.
It's nauseating.
In Oakland,
or our own people for that matter, our homeless population and things like that.
Kids in school
are a lot more fucked up.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. Do you know that they're going to be?
I mean, I'd happily pay 30% tax.
They rely on.
I know that all my veterans are going to not be in the cold. And
well, they rely on things like Tunnels to Towers, and all these organizations that take donations and things like that from the people. Mm-hmm. But they don't have government programs like the illegals do.
With Trump, one of the things that Trump did was he changed the Veterans Affairs, where they at one time, when it comes to government, it's like being a federal judge. You can't be fired if you work for the federal government. Well, he changed that with the veterans, and I see it because I go to the VA. If I had to go, like when I got the VA for my shot or for things, I mean, there's a change now. I mean, it's a change. Like, can we help you? Yes, sir. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. They knew.
Did you tell them to stop calling you ma'am?
Yes. It's not like when you went there before when they were like, what?
Well, when they say Shirley, you must be joking. I said, I'm not joking, and don't call me Shirley. That's right. But there's a different change at the VA, because Frank, you're right. I mean, with the way it was before 2016, 2017, it was a big difference than it was after 2016, 2017. So, oh yeah. But now with the climate the way it is now, it's tough. It really.
Mr. Andre, you've
Yes,
been a
sir.
wonderful guest.
Oh, it's only been like 3 minutes,
A
hasn't it?
very
It
informative
was
guest.
2 hours, man.
Has it really?
Yeah.
Time in this room,
You
like
know-
smoke through a keyhole.
With an M1 Thompson on my lap and a sipping
that
on
made
an
up?
Old Smoky.
I just
and
made that.
three
I think I
good-
heard that somewhere.
You heard
Smoke
that?
through a keyhole. Like
I
like
said,
walruses on a mountaintop. The fuck does that mean?
Nothing like a Wednesday having some little
right.
sipping Old Smoky with 3 good friends with an M1 Thompson. I'm telling you.
to see Mr. Andre Laborde, tune in to Wall Street Wrap-Up. Is that once a week?
That's every Friday night. Now this Friday is Good Friday, so I'm off this Friday.
Where can they
But
find it? YouTube,
Oh,
Spotify?
you can go if you're local. you can go channel 12 on WYES TV.
Okay.
Or if you're outside of the South Louisiana area, because we're also in Mississippi Gulf Coast, but if you're outside, if you're watching this right now in Seattle, Washington, or whatever, YouTube, and then you go to YouTube and then you type in WYES Wall Street Wrap-Up, and all my shows are right there.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm Devin Burgess.
Frank King.
Ginger Janae.
André Laborde.
Wake up in there, you.
Yeah,
people.
no, I'm searching stock right now.
He's buying
Get back
DraftKings.
to work.
That's right.
He's shorting DraftKings at this time
That's right.
from your stock
I borrowed his stock real quick.
and sold it.
Paul Hambrice is your name to be.
Yes, damn.
Oh yeah. Paul Hamrice.
Two
Got
Shots
it.
In
Oh, yeah.
podcast.
Aye,
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in a few days, hopefully. Mr. Andre, thanks
Thank
again.
you, guys.
It was a
I
pleasure
want to
talking
thank
you.
you. I want to thank you for inviting
Absolutely.
me.
Hey,
I
come
have
back
had
anytime, man.
You better be careful on saying that because I had
Oh, you're awesome. You're
I
awesome.
had
Yes.
a great time.
It was a good one.
That's
it was a
it.
good
It was a
one.
lot of fun.
And viewers, if you made it this long, we appreciate it, and we'll see you hopefully in a few days. Bye-bye.